They may be relatively rare, but they rank among nature's most destructive forces. This week, we're exploring the science behind tsunamis. The word itself means great harbor wave in Japanese, and it's very aptly named at that. The whole process usually starts far out at sea, with tectonic plates constantly shifting in small increments. When those plates get stuck, that pressure has to release somehow in some time, and a sudden lift or drop during an earthquake has a great impact on the water above. Underwater volcanoes can also cause that massive sudden displacement, along with very rare cases of meteorites. Nearly 80% of tsunamis happen in the Pacific Ocean, thanks to the infamous Ring of Fire zone. It may surprise you, the tallest on record happened in Alaska, with a quake there in 1958 causing a landslide which led to a 1,720-foot run-up, crashing into a thankfully sparsely populated fjord. Depending on the depth, if you were on a boat right above an epicenter, you might barely notice a 1 or 2 foot rise and fall. Yet these waves, hundreds of miles from peak to peak, can propagate across the sea at jumbo jet speeds to start, slowing down, bunching up, and building higher as they get closer to land. Even if you're too far away to feel the earth shaking, a sudden drop in sea level on the beach is a good indicator you should move farther inland immediately. Finding safe harbor doesn't really apply, as harbors and ports are arguably some of the worst places to be in these events, as ships are flung on shore like bath toys and more narrow channels funnel and speed up that water even more. Meteo-tsunamis are also a thing, driven by air pressure differences along squalls and fronts, though they're often a much lower grade event, rising as high as 6 feet. Compare that to a seiche event, happening a few times a year on certain lakes, with perfectly angled, strong wind blowing a good amount of water to one side of the basin, eventually sloshing back. We've talked about tides before in their diurnal or twice daily cycle, with high and low tides several hours apart. Tsunamis are not tidal waves, with more of a straight line mass and fast rising flood, rather than surfs up on a typical large wave curling back on itself, breaking upon the shoreline. They also don't necessarily look like a single giant wave, but rather a series of them, and the first one may not be the largest. Just like sound waves, any landmass that those waves bounce off of can lead to more constructive or destructive interference. This NOAA simulation after 2021's Tonga volcano eruption models that nicely, with that wave train steaming into the U.S. West Coast in a little under 12 hours. Compare that to the 2011 Japan quake much closer to the shore, wreaking havoc on the Fukushima prefecture. It made not only for the most expensive natural disaster in history at nearly $250 billion in damage, but also led to the worst nuclear disaster since Chernobyl. It was far from the deadliest, however, with 2004's 9.1 magnitude quake off Indonesia causing the only tsunami on record with a 6-digit loss of life. Our ability to predict quakes, and by extension tsunamis, is still in the early stages. There's no one tsunami season, after all. If you're on the coast and you get an alert via phone or siren, the best thing you can do is know your exits and seek higher ground until you're given the all clear. For this week's Moment of Science, I'm Dan Smith.